Hey there, Rabbi David here. Want to give a different perspective to your participants, to your daveners? Today, we're going to talk about how and why you might do a Torah Cam. Hey everybody, David Paskin here, your Torah Tech guy, here on Torah Tech Tips, where I strive to give you great tech for your great Torah. So I wanted to talk today about giving a different perspective to your participants. And I know some synagogues have been doing this already, and it's easy enough to do. So I want to share with you the idea of having a Torah Cam. Now, what is a Torah Cam? Why would you want to do it? Well, a Torah Cam is a second camera that you might have above your Torah scroll so that when you're reading Torah, people at home, your digital participants, your Zoomers, can see the Torah reading, can see the Torah up close. You know, this is especially important, I think, when we think about people who are having honors, people who are having an aliyah to the Torah. When you come up to the Torah, you get to see it, you get to touch it, you can smell the Torah right in front of you. Well, if you're a Zoomer and you're participating, having an aliyah perhaps by digitally, you don't have that same experience, especially if the only cameras that your synagogue has are cameras that are just looking up at the Torah reader or at the rabbi or at the cantor or at the bimah. So you might want to give those people at home a different perspective on what they get to see, where they can actually see the text that they're making a blessing over. They can actually see the Torah. But I want to also suggest that even for the people in your sanctuary, having a Torah Cam might be a really nice idea. You know, many of us, as we're thinking about what are our sanctuaries going to look like as we accommodate both the roomers and the Zoomers, are having screens set up in our sanctuaries or TVs or whatever it is, so that the people in the sanctuary can see the people at home. So if someone at home is having an aliyah, you can see that person on the screen. Well, it might be really nice to also put that Torah Cam on that screen in the sanctuary, because you only have one person come up at a time, maybe two for an aliyah, and you only get 7 of them at most on a Shabbat morning, 8 if you want to count maftir. So what a neat idea to give people both at home and in the sanctuary a close-up view of the Torah and the Torah reading. So that's the idea behind a Torah Cam. Now, how do you actually do a Torah Cam? Well, there are some really easy ways, right? So you can get a basic boom stand, like a microphone boom stand, that attaches to your desk or your table. I actually have one up here holding this iPhone right here. I just have it attached to one of my shelves, and I put a little camera on it. And you can just attach that to your Amud and have that hang out over the Torah reading and push it out of the way when you're done. You can see in this picture that I have up here, this actually just has a phone in there. And you can very easily use an iPhone or an Android phone as a second camera, especially if you're just going to Zoom or something like that. You can just log in from Zoom from this device and then just have that one camera as a camera view for your meeting. In order to get that phone to attach to a boom arm like that, you can just use something like this. This is kind of a fancy one. It's got all these knobs and stuff, but it's just a phone holder. It's the kind of thing that you would have in your car, except on the bottom there is that going to focus? It's not going to focus. There's a screw where you can screw it into a tripod or to a boom arm like that. There are different types of screws, so you might have to make sure that you're getting the right kind, but there are also adapters that you can get. There are also some sort of off-the-market or off-the-shelf solutions that you can buy as far as mounting a second camera, and I wanted to show a couple of those to you. So the first one This is from a company called Elgato. I use a lot of their stuff. This is called their multi-mount system. Now wouldn't need all of this because they have on here, you can mount pretty much anything, lights or whatever. But you can see if you grab either the base, so if you don't want to screw this on to your Amud, if you just want to sit it on top of your Amud, the Torah reading table, you can get the heavy base, or you could get one of these, what they call the master mounts. These just, again, you just put them over the edge of the lip of your table and then tighten it up and you're good to go. And then you can get a solid arm to stretch out over it. I actually have one of these solid arms on order because I have the multi-mount system for a light and I want to attach a second monitor, but I want it to come out a little bit. So I'm actually have one of these coming and I can show that to you if you're interested. But you can see a couple of different applications here. So in this one, they have the multi-mount here with the standing base on this desk, and then a little arm that comes out with the camera on attached to it there. Let's see, what other images do they have here? Here's one with a light and all that stuff. You don't need all that. Here's another one where they just have it sitting on the table and you have the camera attached. Now you can attach any kind of camera to these. Again, if you want to use a phone, you might need an adapter like this one, a phone mount like this one, but they will all pretty much screw into that. Here's another option for you. This is called the Arc and Clamp stand. So this is a great option if you want to just clamp it onto your Amud, onto your table. What I love about this one is that it's adjustable. So you can make it higher or lower, you can extend it, you can make it shorter. It's definitely pricey. $160 for a stand seems a lot of money, but if you're looking for that flexibility, this may be a good option for you. Here's another one. If you just want to set it on top of your table, you could go with this. Oh, sorry, that'll come back in 1 second. You could go with this overhead photo and video camera boom pole. So this you would just use with any tripod that you have. It could be one that you have on the floor or a small one that you put on your Amud on the table. And then this boom arm, it's counterweighted. You can see there's a counterweight on the other side so that it doesn't flip your whole tripod over. And then you just put your camera on there so that it's facing down and looking down rather at I pressed the wrong button and then I couldn't find the right one. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I pressed the wrong button. I was just saying that this tripod you could use, it has a counterweight so that it doesn't tip over. So there are a few different options for you here. You can just get one of these arms, the desk lamp mount type arm. You can get one of those. You can get a microphone arm, or you could buy something specifically made like the Archon or like the multi-mount system from Elgato. And I'll make sure to put links to all of these in the description below. When you're checking those out, when you're checking all those different links out, I hope you'll also head on over to TorahTechGuy.com. That's where I have lots of videos, lots of resources for you. And I especially want to invite you to either take part yourself or to send members of your community, let me pull this over for you, to a brand new training that I'm going to be offering in June. Every Thursday in June, I'm going to be doing a Zoom Gabbai tech training. And there's been a debate going on Facebook about whether these are Zoom Gabbais or Baalei Zoom or some other name. But whatever you want to call it, if you have people who are helping you with your Zoom room, or your Zoom service or your Zoom class, and you want them to really know how to be a Zoom master, send them to this training. I'm going to be doing it every Thursday in June for a half an hour, 4:30 to 5. I have a presentation, but I'm also happy to just schmooze, answer questions, troubleshoot with people. This is really going to be a wonderful opportunity for you and or your volunteers or staff members to get trained in Zoom. And I'm going to be focusing specifically on some of the things that we as Zoom managers or as Zoom Gabbais would need to do. when a service is going on so that we can be supportive to you, the rabbis, the educators, the cantors, or whoever is leading those services. It's completely free. So just come on over. You can register right here. Go to TorahTechGuy.com/Zoom, and you'll be able to find that. Let me press that right button. And I also want to remind you, please, to join me on Friday at 1 o'clock, where we have another amazing Unmute scheduled. This week, I'm joined by Rabbi Menachem Creditor, who has been doing the most amazing Torah teaching every single weekday morning on Facebook. We're going to talk to him about that, what's working for him, what isn't working for him, and how he is lifting up the voices of his students. So I do hope you'll join me for all of that. Check the description below. I'll post it right after I'm done here with links to how you can set up your own Torah Cam. And I hope I'll see you next week on Torah Tech Tips.